Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in. I am Angela Yaron, your host for Evolve with Angela, Mind, Body, and Soul. And today we will be discussing sexual energy exchange. As you can see from the about this podcast, I have listed it as rated M for mature audience only, because this conversation is bound to get very, very juicy. We're going to go into some details that most of you who have been waiting on and questions you have, we're going to attempt to answer those for you on tonight. And I am excited about my guests who will be on the live with me momentarily. I'm so excited to have Harold with me today. And he and I are going to get right into the discussion, and we're going to discuss about the sexual energy exchange. And I invite you to invite others to join in with you. If this is your first time here, welcome to Evolve with Angela, Mind, Body, and Soul. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. And I know that you're going to enjoy the show. So, as my guest is preparing to come on live with us, we're going to allow him as much space as we possibly can. So, right now, I want you to go ahead in the chat box that's here. I want you to put in where you are tuning in from. Where are you listening to this podcast from? Just put your state. Just tell us where you're calling. Oh, sorry, where you're listening in from, because we just want to see how far we are reaching, and um, just to engage with. No, this is not about a Trump show. Just to engage with you all about just some different things that we have going on. Thank you so much for tuning in from England. All right, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining in with us. You're going to enjoy the conversation that we're going to have tonight. We will be talking about sexual energy exchange. Um, if you're here, you're not here by mistake. I believe you were divinely led by Source to be here with us on this evening. So go ahead and invite somebody else to tune in with us, to listen in to the broadcast. Invite your followers, share this on your pages so that we can get the audience, get the word out, and reach as many people as we possibly can. Again, I am Angela Yvonne, the host of Evolve with Angela, Mind, Body, and Soul, and you are tuned in to Evolve with Angela. We come on every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So you're here today. Meet us again next week. You can also follow us on Instagram at I am Angela Yvonne. You can follow us on YouTube at Angela Irvin. You can connect with us even via our website at www.angelawirvin.com. If you'd like to email us, you can do so as well at admin, ADMIN, at angelawirvin.com. So my guest Harold is in the green room. I'm going to invite him to come on with me now so that we can get this conversation started, because we want to allow as much time as we possibly can. Thank you so much for following us today. Follow us here on Podbean. Thank you so much for the person that just followed us. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate your support. We see some other people that are chiming in with us on this evening as well. Thank you guys so much for being here. So Harold is no stranger to the podcast. He's been with me before. He's been a guest on here before, and he talked about together. He and I talked about chakras and how to unblock your chakras, how to increase your vibration, how to heal through Reiki. You can go and find that video on YouTube. Um, you'll see that on there. It's about a month ago, I think, that he was on the show with me. And so today he's going to be back again talking about sexual energy exchange. Let me see if he is ready to come on here with me. While we're waiting for our guests to come on, I just ask you all to just put in the comment section, how has your week been? Hello, Harold.
Hello, 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 Angela.
How are you today?
I am doing well. I am excited. I have a lot of energy. I just came out of another meeting,
Okay.
and I wanted to get over here. So I hope I'm not late to the party tonight. Ooh,
No,
yeah.
no, you're not late. You're right on time.
All right.
Right on time. I wanted to get you on as get you up on the air, out on the air as quickly or as soon as possible because I want to get as much information as we possibly can tonight because there are a lot of people that have been that have inboxed me. We did this segment last month with two other guests, and the feedback that I got from this discussion was phenomenal. People really enjoyed this discussion and talking about sexual energy exchange, just some things that they did not know and their eyes were open and they were awakened to some truth in their reality and they truly enjoyed it. So I want to give as much time as we possibly can to allow us to go into this conversation or to you to go into the conversation. And we just have a very candid conversation on tonight about the sexual energy exchange. How does it sound?
That sounds amazing.
All right. So while we're waiting for more people to come on, if you would, please just, you've been here before. You're no stranger to the network. You're no stranger
Mhm.
to Evolve with Angel Mind Body. And so, but for those that don't know who you are, who Harold is, can you please just introduce yourself? Tell us about you and what you do and anything else you want to share.
All right. I will tell you just a little bit about Harold Timberlake, and I would definitely also, along with what I'm about to say, also would love to invite you to check out my website at www.divine, divine, selfdiscovery.org. That tells a lot about me right there, at divineselfdiscovery.org. But besides that, Harold Timberlake is a 43-year-old person that has reincarnated back to the world.
Yes.
Reincarnated back. Literally, I reincarnated back, and since I reincarnated back, I brought back information from other lifetimes that I
Yes.
was able to synchronize with the now moment, which I called a present gift given to me that I can give to other people. And when I exchange this gift, which we were going to talk about even tonight, sexual energy exchange, but when I exchange the information, it literally nudges you or the listener in their soul and reminds them of something that they absolutely forgot about. And
Hmm.
so that's just a little bit about me. I think that says a lot in itself. But hey, if there's more information, I could go through where I'm from, where I live, all that stuff. But I don't think it's really too important. I think the most important thing happening right here is the fact that these listeners that are here, and I'm excited about exchanging energy with them tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was amazing. I think you shared enough with the audience, and we're just going to go ahead and get right into the discussion.
Yes.
Yes. So um, we're going to ask this question off the top. What is sexual energy exchange?
Wow, energy exchange. Well, that's a loaded question, but and what I will do is I will use the simplest answers and break them up,
Okay.
because I know how detailed that you absolutely are, and I love our discussions and things like that. So the first thing I'm going to say as far as sexual energy exchange is knowing yourself.
Very good.
Knowing yourself. Okay. Besides knowing yourself, uh, sexual energy exchange is also knowing the intent of what you are doing. What is the intent for what you are doing? You have to know the intent for what you are doing, and being in that particular position. And what do you desire to happen? Okay. So I know I was asked a question, but then I turned around and gave an answer, but asked a couple questions in the midst of the question, because you have to question yourself with what you are doing. Is there intent for what it is that you're doing? Of course, there literally is, for pleasure, of course. But what are you being? Why the exchanges happen? Who are you? Why the exchanges happening? And also, what do you really want to happen? Why this exchange is happening? That's the first way that I will answer that. Now, I could definitely break that up, but I'm going to pause for station identification to our moderator to see what she has to say about what I just gave.
I think that what you said is very good. I think it's a very important to know yourself. And when you know yourself, you'll be able to identify everyone else that comes within your sphere of influence or that you attract. You know who's for you, who's not, who to repel, and who to keep. And you'll be able to attract the right one, the right person for you. And and once you know yourself and the intent for what you and that individual are doing together or coming about together, I think those things will manifest over
Yes.
time. And the being and what you do, what do you desire to happen? I think that's important to know when you're connecting with someone on a sexual level. I think it's important to know what you desire to happen from that exchange. And yes, it is. One of the benefits of having sex is um, pleasure. It feels good, but there's a greater depth than just it feeling good. Sex is for procreating, and we're not just talking about human beings, but procreating thought, procreating energy, procreating the mindset. So it's about procreating and to bring some things into manifestation. And so when we think about the sexual energy exchange, we have to think about this thing on three levels, and it can be possibly four. It can be possibly four levels, and the first one is physical, spiritual, and energetic level, and then there's also a mental level as well. And so we're going to talk about all of those if as much as we possibly can, dealing with all of those tonight. The spiritual, the physical, and the energetic, and the mental, because I believe that the mental is so important. Some people just want to focus on, oh, this feels good. But there's a deeper spiritual connection that happens
Mm,
when you connect with someone sexually. There's some things that are exchanged, and we talked about this before in our
hmm.
conversation about the DNA and the information that is exchanged. But first, let's just talk about the chakras. What chakras play an important role in the exchange? Because we're first, let me just tell those that are listening, we're building, so we're going to build a conversation. So each question we ask or that we talk about should build into a great dialogue to where you can get some answers.
Yes, yes, yes. So I would say, of course, the first chakra that plays an important role is definitely the sacrum
Yep,
chakra. The sa-
absolutely.
I would definitely choose the sacrum chakra first, because that is the particular energy field that is being used during the encounter or the experience. Now, I say experiences are great moments, sensations that
Mhm.
that we remember and we take with us, and we say, "Oh, that was so good. Oh, that was such a great experience." Whatever that experience is, you can have food, you can have sex, or whatever the experience
Mhm.
is. But an encounter is something that absolutely positively changes your entire
Yeah,
existence. That's what
absolutely.
I call an encounter. But so I go with the sacrum. If I had to rate them, I would say sacrum first. Sacrum first.
Mm-hmm.
Second is the crown. Third is the root. Fourth is the solar plexus. And fifth, I would say, is the heart chakra. I didn't really, I really didn't say anything about the throat chakra and the third eye chakra in this one. I kind of left those out. But so definitely first the sacrum and second the crown. I'll
Mm-hmm.
leave it right there. I have a reason why I said it that way, but I'll leave it right there until you go further in your question.
Okay. I think that was really good too. I'm just listening to what you're saying and I'm enjoying the discussion as well. I want to add to what you stated about, I believe you said something about coming together. You said a
Mhm.
lot, but I believe you said something about coming together. I think it's important for those that are listening to understand that sacred or sexual energy exchange, it is a ritual, or sex is a ritual.
Yes,
It
it
is a
is.
ritual. It is an inception of life. We talked about that before. And it is sacred energy exchange between two people. And I think it's important for those that are listening to understand that whomever that you lay with, you become equal to that individual. So it's like a contract. You're making a sacred or spiritual contract with that individual. Why do I say that? Because you're exchanging with that person on all three levels. So the spiritual, the physical, and the energetically, including the mentally. You're exchanging. That's why it's called exchange, sexual energy exchange. And so, therefore, it is a ritual that two parties are doing when they're coming together and they're bonding. But most important, it again, as we stated before, it is procreating. And as we said before, not just for physical life, but we procreate the thought, energy, and everything else that we desire to happen. And so, one of the things that I think is important, going back to something that you said, Harold, we have to ask why or what do we want to happen with this exchange. I think those are really important questions to ask. When you're getting with someone, it's important to know, like you said, what is happening, but also to do you want to exchange the information that you're getting from that individual. Because when I think about a man and a woman coming together, the man inserts and he releases. And the
Yes.
woman, she pulls from that man. So he's pushing.
Mm,
So there's a push and a pull like the moon and the sun.
yes.
The woman is the moon, the man represents the sun. There's a pushing, there's a pulling, and there's the energy exchange. So going back to what you just talked about the sacrum chakra, why do you feel that I mean, why do you feel that chakra and I think you mentioned the crown chakra? Why did you mention
Mhm.
just those two?
Okay, well, the reason, of course, that I mentioned the sacrum first is because, again, of that's the area that is definitely being utilized for this pleasure moment, or this exchange, or this procreation, whatever the intent may be. So, a lot of times in that sacrum or sacred place, we used to, when I was a kid, we would call it the family jewels. The
Mm-hmm.
family jewels. That's what we would, the family. But that sacrum or sacred place, it can be it. If that place is not blocked, if there meaning if there has not been a trauma to that area, to the place where everything is working properly,
Mm-hmm.
um that area, once known about, especially in a awakened place, or a an enlightened place, that place becomes magic.
Mm-hmm.
That is, people have magic between their legs. Okay,
Okay.
if it's okay to say it like that on your
Yes.
show, people have magic between their legs that we were never told about when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I don't know what kind of family that you listening to me, and I know we're from goes all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
but in my household, they never talked about sex.
Absolutely. My holiday is
They they didn't talk about it in your household either.
no.
We
Mm-hmm.
we we didn't. I'm talking about nothing. I
Well,
mean,
let me
almost.
let me just
Go
say
ahead.
this. if I can
Mhm.
interrupt you, other
Yeah.
than sex before marriage is wrong, it's a sin. And they made it seem like sex was disgusting, that it was gross, and that you're gonna die and go to hell. So it was like a lot of negative connotations that were associated around sex. And if you had sex outside of the confines of marriage, standing in front of the priest and getting this marriage license, then you were doomed. You
Oh
are a
my
sinner.
goodness.
You're gonna go to hell. So sex was portrayed in that mindset or that mental construct. But as far as the healthy aspect of sex and sex being magic, as you just talked about, no, that was not. Sex was not discussed in my house as anyone by anyone.
W- Well, that's pretty amazing that we probably grew up in different states and the same thing absolutely happened at my house too. That no one talked about absolutely anything except it was a sin, and unless you got married, that you were going to hell. Isn't that something?
It is.
Isn't that
Do you think
some?
that's a cultural thing?
I do. I do. I was just talking today to some a couple of. I was talking to a married couple. They were Latina, and I was talking to a white couple. And guess what? That
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same in their culture. It's
Mm-hmm.
just not. So that means in the African American culture that for some reason or another that many of our ancestors or those that came before us that was a taboo subject that we weren't really supposed to discuss because the Latinos are extremely sexual and the Caucasian culture that again that I was talking to, I'm not saying all, but they seem pretty fluent as far as open as far as sexually and and seriously sexually, and
Mm-hmm.
even at an early age. So yes, I do think that is something in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
To where our parents or grandparents or however that goes, that they were blocked in many areas. I think probably and their throat chakra was not able to express a lot of things, many of them coming out of slavery, and a lot of things having happened to them and traumatized them at young ages. And then, people carry that. And that's one of the reasons that I said if people are blocked or not, because um, once someone is blocked in a certain area, they don't speak on certain things. Well, I should have said throat chakra before I said sacrum chakra. Now that I'm talking about it, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Now that I'm talking about it, I should have said throat chakra first because we don't talk about it. No one told me that I had magic between my legs.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever said anything like that because
Mm-hmm.
that becomes that the phallic becomes the magic wand if you come to know who you are and what to do with it, not just putting it inside of a woman, but it literally can become the magic stick.
Absolutely. 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 And I think it's important to highlight the chakra because that's where the blockage is. We have to reverse or rewrite the paradigm. So with my children, I'm very open when it comes to my children. When it comes to everything, we discuss everything. Nothing is off the table, and they know that. They can discuss with me about their love life, their sex life, whatever it is that they're doing. And I hope they don't get angry for me saying that to make me. But
That's funny.
I think it's important to have that conversation to so that that men, because I have sons, so they can understand that phallus is the magic stick,
Right.
the magic wand.
Yeah.
So I'll let
Yes.
you finish your thought on that.
Oh, no, no, no. I was just gonna say yes, that is, and then for the woman to be the oval, just like the Oval Office. That's how they built the even a lot of the different monuments and things like that. They based it off of sexual energy. Most of the capitals, of course, are shaped in the with the erect penis with the
Mhm.
shaft. Of course, the Oval Office.
Mhm.
Of course that symbolizes the woman. But they didn't tell me this kind of stuff. They didn't tell me because they knew. Because I know now that once you begin to find out as far as this energy that you have, and you learn how to transmute the energy, and I hope I'm not getting too far ahead,
No, you're
but
great. Doing great.
okay. But once you begin to transfer and transmute and know what it is that you have, that you are then able to manifest things that you desire, and you have this you've had the energy in you all along. But if you don't know about it, how in the world could you ever tap into it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can go into a lot more depth why I call it the magic stick or the magic wand, or even as far as the woman. And you mentioned something as far as the information,
Mm-hmm.
because inside of us there's all type of energy, there's all type of information, there's all type of, and just like Angela said, there's a push and a pull of what we're doing and exchanging. What are we exchanging? Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great question, but I'm going to yield the mic back to our moderator.
I want you to expound on that about the magic stick. I want you to go, if you don't mind, go a little
No.
in that
Mm-mm.
because I think
No.
that's important.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I this is what I begin to come into. So people are in different stages and places in their what I would consider their enlightenment in life, just who they are. Again, if a person, one of the first questions that you ask is is about sexual energy and the exchange,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the first things I responded back is knowing you. Well, the reason why I said that, because if a person doesn't really know themselves, then how can you really know someone else? Okay,
Absolutely.
so I could be talking about, yes, the person, the personality, what they like to do, and all of that. But
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't really know yourself sexually, how can you really know someone else sexually? Because the
True.
only thing that you're really trying to do is to, if you don't know yourself sexually, you're if you get with someone else sexually, the only thing you're really trying to do is basically get off. That's it.
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
that's 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 all you're really trying to do. I mean, we might as well just admit it. But when you know yourself, you know what it is that you desire. And of course, everyone wants to feel good. And of course, whatever you may consider climaxing and things like that. But when you know yourself, then you want to know and learn the other person. You want
Mm-hmm.
to learn their desire. You want to learn what it is that they want to feel. And you somewhat should want to put your needs on the back burner to bring that person the ultimate pleasure. Really, the exchange really happens when you put yourself on the back burner. Now, what I mean by that, if you're having sex, you're going to be enjoying it anyway. But if you think about what I'm saying and knowing yourself, you know what it is that you desire. So
Right.
if a person sees that you desire to please them, you desire to want to know them, what it is that they want, and things like that, then what happens is they begin to drop all of their defenses or their hangups or their preconceived notions, and they get extremely comfortable. And guess what? Heaven begins to open up. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman.
But can I ask you a
Heaven.
question right there?
Oh
Is there
yes,
any way that during the sexual exchange that because when a person is not completely open up in sex, that to me is an indication there are some blockages.
yes,
And that could be within you and as well as the other individual. So both parties have to, as you just said, have to work with one another to unblock those blockages. And
yes,
the man, typically can discern whether or not the woman that he's entering in, there's some blockages there, and
yes,
certain words that he can say to her, because words are spells. We know that
yes,
words are spells. That's why it's called the gospel. We're casting
right.
spells. So words that are said to her can help, as you were just saying, unblock
Mm-hmm.
and make it more that both parties more comfortable having the exchange with one another.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to say that because I thought that was a good point.
Oh, okay, okay.
Somebody interject.
Oh no, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, no, no, totally. Because
Okay.
but because again, I mean how the thing is that the man desire what we ultimately as men we want to do or should want to do is to have that woman as open as possible. Okay, and I'm not
Yes.
talking about the opening of her vagina. We Because a lot of women are much different, made different than us. They can't even begin to get in that mode or mood until their mind or their heart is stimulated,
Mhm.
until it is that they see they because of course women, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, but are more emotional creatures, or
Right.
a creation. That's not creatures, but
I know.
a creation. Yeah, yeah, but a creation, and we're more physical, you
Yeah.
know. And so therefore we're not as moved by emotions or anything like that, so therefore a man has to begin to get her open,
Mhm.
her mind feeling good, before the whole experience happens, so she can be open to give herself away. Because again, it's us entering inside of her particular kingdom. And so once we begin to do that, and she does begin to open up again, I would call a woman a total informational I would call her a total informational embodiment of anatomy. Okay,
Absolutely.
a total. There's so many things about the information that a woman holds in her psyche, in her body, and all of that. If the man is in tune with himself, knows himself, he will know that particular information. He will know that information within himself. So he is extremely conscious when
Mhm.
he now has her open, and now he's going, or I don't even want to just say that, because then there could be some type of foreplay. See,
Mhm.
a lot of men just want to get down right into it, want to get right into it. But is that woman, is she relaxed? Has she been caressed? Has she been kissed on? Does she want to, is she feeling good? Has there been any form of foreplay? Does that man know how she likes that foreplay to happen? Or
Mhm.
is he just going based off of what he's known by other situations, and he's bringing that same thought to this particular woman, which she is a totally different energy than the
Mhm.
other person that he has previously been with. Same thing, vice versa for women.
Mhm.
Sometimes what I think that we do, and that we fail to do, is that we fail to realize that every person that we are with is different than anyone that we may have had before. And just because something may have worked with someone before, it does not mean it's going to work with the next person that you're with.
Absolutely.
And I'm
And
going to pause right there. Go
I
ahead.
want to interject something and it's important, I think, to understand that when you have sexual energy exchange or sex with someone, you're not only having sex with that individual, but you're having sex with every person they have had sex with,
That's right.
and on an emotional level, on a spiritual level. And when you're engaging in sex with someone, there's debris that person has, and I like to use
Mm.
the word debris,
Hmm.
that comes from that partner, and that debris is transferred to whomever you are engaging with. So the energy is a transference of energy, because we have to remember that everything is energy.
Hmm.
Everything in the world vibrates. Everything in the world is energy, and so people carry within their emotions. As well as in their aura field, we carry energy in those areas. So, going back to what you were stating, the woman and the man both have to understand when they're getting together that it entails more than just them. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? It entails more than just them getting together and it's just him and her.
Right.
They have to, and I know we kind of expounded on this part a little bit longer, but they have to push past uh,
Yeah.
the debris and push
Yeah.
past the mindset in order to help that woman get comfortable. And then it goes along with what you said about the foreplay. that does take a part, and that happens long before you ever get inside of the bedroom.
Yeah.
For my understanding, foreplay should take place before you get into the bedroom. When you get into the bedroom, then it should go to another level. Intimacy should happen before you get into the bedroom, and that's why it's called intimacy. Into
Yeah.
you see,
Yeah.
learning your partner, you're learning what they like. And that comes from communication, that comes from dialogue, that comes from just spending time together. But most important, it comes from communication. Two people should be, before you ever even think about having sex with someone, if you cannot have a conversation
Right.
about sex, then you shouldn't even engage in the act.
That's
You
right.
should be able to communicate your desire and what you like in
Mm.
this sexual exchange or in this relationship. Without communication in a relationship, you really don't have a relationship. You have what I call an illusion. You think you got
Mm.
something happen, but it's really not, because communication is extremely important. Is what
Yes.
you begin to learn what you have in common when you communicate. You learn
Right.
commonalities, or because even in the communication, there's an exchange of energy that's taking place. Again, because it's intimacy. Intimacy,
Mm.
you see. So there's
Mm.
different things that are being exchanged.
Yes. I totally agree with that. This exchange, I'm literally exchanging what is in me to you. You're exchanging that to me, and if you're in
Absolutely.
tune and in touch, you can literally feel the vibrations of what's coming from the person. Also, watch this, there can be healing that
Yes,
is transferred from the exchange with intent.
there should be. And I mean,
Right.
what else would you getting? Why else would you have sex just for pleasure? We've done a lot of things in our life just for pleasure, and where has it gotten us?
Nowhere.
And if you think about our culture, I'm not going to speak for any other culture. I'm going to speak for ours. We
Hmm.
have a lot of trauma in our culture.
Yes.
A lot of, we just talked about one of the ways our parents or ancestors and their ancestors didn't talk about sex. That's trauma. Why
Right.
didn't we talk about it? That is a sign of trauma
Right.
in a family bloodline. There's sex is like a taboo in our culture, and it shouldn't be. Sex should be one of those things that we discuss openly with my children. Again, and I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else, because I mean, my kids probably can tell you. Well, they call me their best friend because we talk about everything. When I say everything, everything from,
Mm.
because I think that's important. I think it's
Love it.
important for us as parents to be able to discuss things with your children, and to, that's the only way you're going to break the curse. If we
That's
want to use the
right.
word curse, that's the only way you're going to break things off of them, is being able to have that open relationship with them, and not to try to program them what you learn, but allow them to discover. And if they have questions, which I allow my kids to discover, and they have questions, they have many questions, especially my youngest child. He has many questions. He asks me all the time. So I think
Mm.
it's important. Sex is supposed to heal. If it's
Mm.
not healing, and if it's not doing something for that person's soul, healing their soul and bringing them up to a higher vibration, why are we doing it?
Come on. Come
My
on.
question that I ask people, that I'm going to ask those that are listening to this now, and if you're listening to this later, if the person is not someone that you would like to be with, why are you engaging in sexual exchange with them? If they don't have the qualities that you like, they don't have the character you like, if they don't vibrate on your similar frequency, why are you engaging in sexual exchange with them? Because you're exchanging that energy. Remember, whatever energy you put out, you're saying, when you come together with that individual, that person becomes your equal. It doesn't matter if they vibrating low, that person becomes your equal. If
Mm.
vibrating high, that person becomes your equal. And
Mm.
that's why it's so important. And again, I'm going to bring up my kids, because I tell my children this, and anyone else that wants me to teach them, I mean, you have to have your own experience. I can only teach you what I know. But I tell my children, you're coming into exchanging with that person, and you're becoming equal to that individual. Is this
Yes.
someone you want to become equal with? Do they have the qualities that you desire? And so you have to look at this from this standpoint. If you wonder why your life seems to be jacked up, and you have all these negative thoughts. You talk about poverty, things that you never would talk about. You have all these weird thoughts. You wonder, like, where is this coming from? Who have you slept with?
Mm.
Because
Mm.
DNA is information. You're
Right.
exchanging DNA. When that man is pushing inside of you and you're receiving,
Yeah.
information is being exchanged. But I'm gonna let you go ahead. I just
No, you. I mean, again, I mean, I know I continue to say it, but you're exactly right because everything in the root, everything inside of a, especially the, is everything inside of us is definitely coming out from us. We're
yes,
thrusting our whole existence into that. For me, it would be into the woman. I'm putting my whole existence into her.
absolutely.
I'm literally, from every part of me, from this lifetime, from other lifetimes, all the energy. And so that's
Hmm.
why a woman has to carry so much,
Yes,
so much. So everything you've ever had, and a lot of times, if you're a man, you're putting I mean, you're putting everything in there because guess what? Every man wants to be the best, wants to be
absolutely,
the strong. He wants that woman to know. He wants that woman to never forget him. My goodness. So therefore, he's gonna do. I mean, he's gonna really try to woo, so she can remember him. He wants that man wants her to say his name. Come on. I know
hmm
some people on you want we say all this stuff. So therefore, while you're doing that, not only are you saying that, but you're putting your whole everything into that person. And so therefore, we have to be very conscious, definitely. I mean, everyone, but we have to be extremely conscious of what is happening right there because when that is over, then once everyone gets up and cleans up and goes about their merry way, then that person's energy is inside the other person.
absolutely.
So you can be thinking thoughts that you weren't even thinking before because now you have somebody else's DNA and energy on the inside of you. And the thing
Absolutely.
is, we can't see energy, but we can definitely feel it.
Yes, there you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you may not feel it right away. Some stuff you may feel over time, but give it a while, give it a minute. Like they say, wait for it. You're going to feel it like
Yes.
something is off here. Something is not right. You know that you're vibrating a low level frequency and you was not vibrating at that low level frequency prior to coming into exchange with this individual. You need to go back and trace that back and pinpoint it. And if that's not to bash the individual, because it's not about bashing that person, because you laid with that individual and you became equal with them. And that doesn't mean that that person is better than you.
Mm.
It, it's not saying that, but you're that equal because you exchange everything with them, as you just said. You exchange the DNA, you exchange the bodily fluid, you exchange
Hmm.
the energy, you exchange the emotions, you exchange the thoughts, and that right there has become a binding contract.
A binding contract. Yes.
It's a binding contract. Sex is
That's
a
right.
ritual, and it is a binding ritual.
Yes.
And that's why people have to now go and do the work in order to break the cord or sever the cord with that contract, because you can break contracts.
Right. You,
And I think it's important too. I'm going to let you talk, but I want to elaborate on something else. But I'm going to come after you say what you're going to say.
well, as far as the binding contract, yes. I mean, once you've connected, that's. I mean, I'm telling you, you can't undo what you've done. Once you've locked into that
Yeah,
particular system, um, there is definitely a download happening. There are downloads happening. You can't erase what happened. That exchange of energy is going to be there, and this is why so many people, even now, so many people are, I have to say it, they may not be all together in their mind because of that exchange of energy that has happened to them at certain times in their life when they weren't prepared or when they weren't open or when it wasn't welcome or when they were forced to do something that they really didn't want to do, which is why we definitely want to be in a great headspace and want to make sure the other person is in a great headspace, so you can manifest what it is that you desire. What is it that you're desiring? Do are you manifesting while you are doing that? Are we just pushing and humping and
Mhm.
trying to get off, or is it with intent? And of course, it is for procreation, but it's also for manifestation, because your
Yes.
body is a magic kingdom. And
Yes.
if the two people both know that their bodies are magic kingdoms, then when they come together, as they're going up, like going up the pyramid or up the scale to the mountain, in the climax of their exchange of energy, and once getting to the top, and literally at that peak moment, literally calling out what it is that they desire, that's a manifestation moment with
Mhm.
intent.
Mhm.
And whenever we are sexing, no matter what, there should be a great intent on the end of it. What is it that we want to manifest while
Yes.
we're harnessing our sexual? We're not harnessing it because we're actually releasing it, but this harness energy that we're putting together, that we're literally exchanging this energy, and now we're about to manifest. So you don't always, of course, every time somebody has sex, they definitely don't want to always have a baby, but it's definitely the act of having a baby. So on the exchange of that, turning that around, what do we want to make? Not a baby, but what do we want to manifest? And then you can be in an agreement with your your partner, and have the most magical experience that you possibly ever had. But
Mhm.
one thing I will say is, please don't just do it to just be doing it, because you will find yourself in a very bad position.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's why. And I'm glad you said what you said, because this ties into what I'm getting ready to say about the Olympic bonding. And it has been studies have been found to show that the female have a larger limbic system than men and tend to be more limbic connected. So going back to what you just stated, if you're find yourself in a bad situation, or a place that you cannot get out of, the reason being is because of the limbic connection. If you're trying to get over someone, you have to avoid having sex with them, because um, you're more connected. You're more connected with your limbic bonding, with your limbic system, and you're connecting with that person and the energy that that person have inside of your mind, inside of your limbic system. So, in order to break the connection, in order to break the tie, so to speak, I don't like to use the word tie because I don't really don't want to use that word. But in order to break the connection with that individual, then you have to disconnect or disengage in sexual exchange with that individual, because with that person and whoever the guy is, that person is emitting, and we talked about that before. He's pushing like the sun, and the woman emits like the moon, and she pulls in whatever is released. And the reason being because we can talk about the pheromones, which are chemicals that are released, in the environment that affect the behavior of the species, and that is the same thing that that's the sperm and the white fluid that is released in the male and the female is sending out pheromones. The man can tell when a woman is, just like in the animal kingdom, they can tell when that animal is ready to mate because there are pheromones that are released. I know we get off
Mhm.
to something totally different, but it's the same way until the humans. The man can tell when a woman is at that place. A woman can tell when she's at that place too, because she gets very sexually aroused when it comes time for her ovaries and she's ovulating. It's the same way. And when you feel like you're at that place, most women that don't know how to discipline themselves, they go right back into something that they do not want.
Mm. Wow. I wonder how many men are absolutely in tune enough to know when a woman is ovulating by how she is reacting.
Yes.
Mm. And but in order for a man to really know that, again, a man, I would say he has to really know himself. And then what do you do with that information when you know that, even without not anything being said related to that, but you know that someone is, that their pheromones and they're ready. They're like, I think that's something for people to be that in tune to know
Mhm.
the energy, of another person, that they're giving off signs and signals like, listen, I am ready. I
Mhm.
want it. Can you, you know, I think that's a very interesting. I've always thought that that idea was really interesting. And,
Mhm.
because I'm going to tell you, there sometimes men do miss signals,
Mhm.
of course, cause and the reason why is because we're so blocked with the way we think. Men a lot of times are always thinking about sex.
Mhm.
So therefore, in the time or, the moment, unless direct signals are being given, men, sometimes men don't know. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be, yeah. Sometimes we don't know, but then sometimes men that really do know themselves, they absolutely do know. So I guess it's a toss up.
The scripture in the Bible, if I can reference that scripture, says, "Husbands, dwell with your wife according to knowledge," that is,
Mm,
knowing her.
yeah.
And when you think about a ledge is something that you get close proximity to where you're about to fall off. So that means you
Mm,
would have to die to your own, self. Both parties do. In order to
yeah.
know her, you have to put your desires to the side to know who she is. And we know the word know means to go within. That's,
Mm,
go to dwell with her, to know her, to go
yeah.
within her. Um, and I think that's a continuous process, because I don't believe that it is something that you can grasp overnight. I believe it's something continuously that you, especially if you're learning your wife and you're studying her. I think it's important for a man to study their mate
Mm,
and for her to likewise to love him. And a lot of men don't need love, but they don't. It is said that men don't need you to tell them that they love you all the time. Tell the man that
mm,
you appreciate him. I appreciate you. I honor you for what you're
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Love to men is fickle. Men, okay, but do
Yeah.
you honor who I am?
That's
So
right.
I think it's important for a man to know his woman and to study her, to
Yeah.
learn the signals, the indicators or the markers of where this woman. Sometimes a woman, she could be agitated, but why is she agitated? What is going on with her? And that
Right.
comes again, what we said before, talking and communicating,
Right.
talking and finding out what's the problem, what's going on, why do you feel this way, and then
Right.
using those magic spells, those words to begin to reassure her that X, Y, and Z, this is what it is, this is how I feel. And like you said, women are emotional creatures. We have to
Yeah.
learn how to balance the yin and the yang with one another, so that, and men are to come to help us balance out that yin and the yang, so that
That's right.
we're not always in chaos, because a woman can live in a place of chaos if she's not disciplined. But when you find a woman that's disciplined and that she's mastered certain things,
Mm,
and that man is disciplined and he's mastered certain things, man, please,
yeah.
the the exchange and what you can create with that individual, that's magic. That's
Yeah.
magic within
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. No, you're right, because, I what, and I was just, in conversation, these past couple days, a lot of, times, and I'm glad you said that whole thing about love. I think we men would just be happy more with, like, if a woman said, comes and be like, listen, I really like you, like that.
Funny.
Like, I really like you. That would mean more to a man than a woman saying, I love you.
Hilarious.
It's like, yeah. But we just want to, men a lot of times will literally melt just by being appreciated. Just by,
Mhm.
just to all of the women, if I could leave anything, if you let a man know that you see him, that you really appreciate him, that you really, you're thankful that he is doing, or whoever he is. He could be someone in your family. He could be someone romantic or a friend or whatever. Do you know that you will make that man melt when you look him in his eyes and you catch his attention and you let him know, like, listen, I want you to hear me. Like, I really do dot 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 you, and I really do dot 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 dot. Do you know you will literally make him melt right there in front of you? Because many times men don't get that. They don't. We don't. We
Mm-hmm.
haven't. We just haven't. For whatever reason, that has nothing to do with sex. It doesn't. I mean, man, we can do that all day, but something there's another part of a man that's not necessarily ever being stimulated, and that he will not release to you, that he absolutely desires, because many men, our throat chakra is not released to give that information, and we weren't prone to tell our feelings. We weren't prone to tell you what it is that we're really thinking and what it is that we really desire. We're just trying to learn how to be men. and
Wow.
yeah, and so a lot of that, really, you want to see a melt, you want to see a man change, start speaking to his soul.
Mm-hmm.
Speak to his soul and his mind and his heart. All right, go ahead.
I know you're telling the truth with that because I dated a guy, and he and I were talking, and he said, "You say the most like kindest things." He said, "It's not just the words that you're saying." He said, "It's just the spirit that comes behind it."
Hmm.
And he said, "I've never had anyone to talk to me in that manner." And my words, my exact words to him is that I'm speaking from my soul to your soul because I can identify who you are and where you're at.
Mm.
And he was taken aback by those words because he had never heard that before. And so
Wow.
he revealed some other things that, transpire as a result of that, our, connection and just our conversation. But what you're saying is so true. And I only said that statement just to affirm that what you're stating, a man does need you to speak to their soul. It's just not about a woman, you getting this man to do all these things for you and you're not giving anything back in return. It should be, again, it's an exchange.
It's an exchange.
It's not just one party, but one party is benefiting and the other one is not. If it's not an equal exchange, then there's some unbalance. I mean, in the relationship, and then it's just not gonna last. It's not a
Right.
relationship. I don't know what you call it, but it's not a relationship.
Yeah. In most situations, and I'm sorry, not most, but many situations, that's exactly what's happening. You have two people, whether it be a married couple or a couple that's dating. Um, it's not really ever equal.
Hmm.
It's somebody on someone on top and the other person trying to figure out how they can balance it out or something like that. But it's not really just an even exchange a lot of times.
That's really good that you say that it's not really equal a lot of times. Do you believe the reason being is because people out of the exhaustion of waiting for the twin flame, they
Hmm.
just accept someone that I guess is good for them or that makes them feel good temporary at that time. I don't know if that's the right word to say it, but do you believe people have not? I'm not saying that everything is going to be hunky dory, all peaches and cream when you find your twin flame either, because I do know that there are cycles, stages of that twin flame relationship. You find them, and then you may have conflict, struggle. So it could be where one person runs, and then eventually, if they get over their ego or whatever it is, they come back together. So, but do you think that people? You think it's because people haven't found their twin flame, or why do you feel that what you just stated?
Well, yeah, I think everyone in this life is looking for love. Everyone desires to be loved at the core of them.
Mhm.
Everyone does, we, because we are that is inside of us, so we desire that. And there's some innate knowing that we're not supposed to walk this journey by ourselves. And
That
so
is
what
true.
happens is, in the waiting process, or the time that we're by ourselves, everyone desires to feel that. So everyone desires to be desired.
Yes.
And so therefore what we'll do is we will what we will do is we will I just lost the word, but we will sacrifice ourselves, our time, our energy to do what we need to do until we can do what's better. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go over here and hold space and time with this person until what I really want comes along. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that creates babies.
Yeah.
That creates
Mm-hmm.
all type of energies and
Yeah.
situations that you don't want because you compromise what it is that you compromise yourself and the other person selfishly because you said that because you were in a place of really desiring something or someone that hadn't came yet. So even though
Mm-hmm.
you may not really be in this person, but because they can do what they need you to do for that moment, you're just going to go occupy space with them. Marriages have came out of that, children have came out of that, and that's why when people get together they end up very angry because they never wanted that person in the first place.
My goodness.
And
Mm-hmm.
then eventually,
Telling the truth.
yeah, and then eventually it's going to come out. I mean, in some one way or another it's going to end in divorce, someone's going to get hurt, physical abuse, because that's not what you wanted in the first place. And the other person didn't necessarily know that that's the mindset that you were in because we don't state that stuff up front.
That's very true. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
I bought the T-shirt and I can wear it. I don't want to wear it anymore. That is,
Yeah, me
that's very,
either. Me either.
yeah. Wow. So, do you believe that everyone is created with the twin flame? Because I do. I believe everyone is created with the twin
Hmm.
flame, and that you are meant to be with your twin flame because
Yes.
you share the same soul blueprint, and you have the same core choices, and it's like your perfect mirror. That's what your twin flame is, and no one is more perfect for you than your twin flame. That's what I believe. But anyways, you want to say something on that?
Well, yeah, I definitely want to say, as far as the twin flame, I do agree with that. Everyone does. I do know that everyone does have a twin flame, and usually you do meet your twin flame in a lifetime, but
Mm-hmm.
you may not be ready for them or they may not be ready for you. Now, I consider, it's just my perspective, it's just mine, that soulmates are different than twin flames. Again, this
Yeah,
is my perspective
that's true.
because I believe that energies have traveled with you as soulmates that have been traveling with you, but the soulmates are, I believe, people energies that have come with us from spaces and places, and those are the people we spin our wheels with. Those are the people that really help us to grow and expand.
Absolutely.
They've been traveling with us, but the twin flame is literally your mirror image, your connection, the one that probably in another lifetime that you were actually with, but in this one, because expansion, we expand at different places and spaces that we're not able necessarily to see that person until we're literally at the same space and place at the same time. And that's why we call it twin, because we can meet on the same frequency and the connection is there, and both energies can then become one and become a synergy. And that's what I would consider a twin flame. And I do know that everyone has one, but I
Yeah,
just don't think that we're all at the same place at the same time. And many times, so we may see them, we may even connect with them, but the relationship may not pursue because people are at different places and spaces at different times when we do meet.
that's very true. I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yep, absolutely. And that could be daunting task for some people to wait and get there, and then you feel like you can't get together. But there are a lot of people that have connected with their twin flame. There's an
Yes.
old song that was out years ago that says "Reunited and it feels so good." I believe that's what they're talking about. You're coming back with
Yeah.
yourself. You're coming back together with yourself. Um, you'll know when you meet that twin flame. You'll know it.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're gonna get back to this discussion. So we're talking about energy exchange, sexual energy exchange, and I think everything that we tied in tonight kind of ties in with one another. We talked about um, coming together with the right um, mindset, the right intent, the right purpose. What do we desire to happen? That we are exchanging energies, and that there's a transferring of energies, and is important to be mindful of who you're getting in contact with or sexually engaged with, because you're becoming that person's equal. And we also talked about, one of the latter things we talked about was the pheromones. And I want to say
Mm,
at this point about the pheromones. Pheromones can cause sexual arousal, or it can be intimidation.
mm,
So you can be intimidated by, because a woman has these pheromones that are released, and a man can be intimidated by that that scent of the pheromones, or they can be aroused by it.
mhm.
I'm just gonna go over some little things really quick.
Okay.
There's another thing that's called copeland, which I wanted to talk about that a little bit, which is the yoni produces a thick chemical fluid, which is white, and that fluid is the thing that controls the man's mind. A lot of men
Mm.
know that I'm letting the secret out the bag.
Mhm.
Yep, it actually mind controls and affects on the male's brain. And if a male is exposed to a woman's, it's called copeland, over time, um, if she has the ability, or that fluid has the ability to remove and insert memories on the subconscious level in the thoughts.
Mm,
The copeland is a fatty acid found in the yoni, and this is how the sexual magic is performed. You know, through
mm.
the yoni and the magic stick or the magic wand. Also,
Yeah.
there's the fluid that comes from the male, the semen, which is exactly what it is. Sea men that travel. DNA that goes into the
Yeah.
woman's brain. It also affects her brain, and it also has a dopamine effect to where she is like a drug, where she gets high off of it and she wants more. So we were talking about before, um, a couple of segments back. That's dealing with the limbic system. It affects her mind, her brain, to where she becomes addicted to it, and she desires more. And you feel like, why come I can't let this person go? And that is the reason why. So, if you have any final thoughts, if you want to add on this, we're gonna, kind of wrap it up. We've talked about a lot, and we have so much more that we could talk about on this discussion, because this discussion is very, very broad, I would say. And
Yes. Yeah. Well, again, I just first of all, this has been, I think, an amazing conversation. I think that you know, just as we get ready to wrap it up, that again, first being knowing yourself. What is the intent? Once the intent is set, then before, and you said it earlier. Absolutely loved it, totally agree with it. Before you ever get to the bedroom, or before you ever get to the car, or wherever you're going to be at doing your thing, could be
mhm,
on the beach or some exotic place, or it doesn't matter. But before you get there, what are you doing to that other person's mind?
absolutely.
Have you stimulated their mind? What are you doing to open that person up? Have you loved on them? Have you told them how much you adore them, or however that conversation goes with you? Because once you get to that exchange in the bedroom, you want to connect as much as possible.
Hmm.
You want to connect as much as possible. You want to exchange. You want to manifest. You want magic to happen. You want that. You want that woman's body to secrete all her fluids as much as possible. You want that man to be able to extend. If you, for every woman, a lot of times a man still has more penis to be erect. If you grab under his scrotum area, there's still more penis back there that
Hmm.
can literally be extended. But how can you get that out? Well, I can tell you how you get that out. Turn him on, man. Just love, like him, make him feel like he is absolutely everything. Men, the same thing. How are you making that woman melt before you make her melt? Because just putting your your manhood or your penis or whatever you may call the family jewels inside of her, yes, that's great. But guess what? If she's not stimulated, it's only so much that she's going to even, her body is going to even take. Is she even, is her body even reacting to you? Is she even reacting to you? Sometimes, men, I think we can think that we're really doing something, and we're not doing anything. As a matter of fact, a lot of times women may be like, I just hope he hurries up, do what you're going to do so we can stop, because her mind is not there. And sometimes after arguments and things like that, and you want to have the makeup sex and that other person's not even into it, literally, that can literally begin to destroy a relationship, because now it's just a thing just to get off and we're done. I don't even want to talk to you after this. Just bend over, let me just, and when it gets to that part, I'm telling you, you're at the beginning to the end of the relationship. So with that said, I'm just so elated that we can now have conversations like this. We can bring out these truths. We can exchange energy and information even on a podcast such as this. And I do want to say thank you for all that you're doing and all that you are for the world, Angela, because you are the voice of this new generation.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that and appreciate your kind words and everything you spoke on this evening. Um, you are, you know, you are a tremendous blessing to the world yourself. You are impacting those within your sphere of influence on a whole new magnitude and high level conscious conversations. I've heard you teach before multiple times. I've had you on my show on this last month, and I thoroughly enjoyed everything that we discussed, just as I did tonight. And I look forward to just having other conversations with you along subject matters. Doesn't have to necessarily be this, but on whatever source gives us to discuss, to do our part into helping to awaken the world, to remind us all, to cause us to remember who we
Mm,
are and who we've always been. And so I'm
yeah.
honored to know you, honored to be connected with you. And I'm grateful that Source has allowed this connection to happen during this time, this present moment that we're in. And so thank you again for being here with me. And
Uh,
so, folks, in my final thoughts, I like to leave us with just some um, different things. One thing Carol said at the very end, at the conclusion, was about keys. When you see your car, you get into your car, you grab your keys. And intimacy is like that key. You have to either put your key into the doorknob, press the button, or either touch the doorknob in order to unlock the door. So the keys are what unlocks the door and give you that access to sit in and to drive that vehicle. And we have some vehicles that are able to drive themselves. Some you can just do as little as possible, but nevertheless, once you have the right key, you be able to gain access. And so I want to tell those that are listening here tonight that sex is normal. The desire for intimacy is normal and happens to be a ginormous part of how we function in our human existence. However, contrary to human expression, casual sex just doesn't exist. We talked about that on tonight. I know we think that having cut buddies and one night stands and selecting casual party partners without hesitations are means to get a quick fix. And literally, that's exactly what it is. But on a energetic level, it just doesn't exist. It is unrealistic, and quite frankly, is impossible. Anytime we are intimate with a new partner, unbeknownst to human perception, we are recipients of what I like to call their double or their equal. You become in exchange. You're exchanging information. You absorb who they are, whether it be their joy and their junk, whether it be their positivity or the negativity. There is no subtle, sometimes not so subtle exchange. I'm sorry, there is a subtle, sometimes not so subtle energy exchange that occurs from intercourse that mingles both parties' energy, and each subsequent time we are intimate, we take on more of that energy as our own, also leaving part of our own in theirs. With every sexual encounter, we have to ask ourselves, is this exchange, if this is an exchange of love, or is an exchange of sexual healing? We talked about that on tonight. Is it energizing? Is it positivity? Or is it draining? Do I feel like this person just dumped on me or dumped in me? Do I feel like my life force has been sucked out of me? You see, our individual energy fields extend and they surround us. It is said that your energy field extends out, I think it's 20 feet outward. And in most cases, at least 3 feet from our bodies. So some people say 20 feet, but some people say 3 feet from our physical bodies, and sometimes larger depending on how expanded we are, because you can expand outward. I've done that and I practiced it. I know that you can expand outward. Every partner we have, even the ones we deem as he's just meaningless, she just meaningless, she don't really mean nothing, it's just a whatever. We are merging our auric fields with theirs, forming individual energy cords with each partner every time we have sex. I mean, that should cause you to have an aha moment and just have you sit back and say, whoa, that means that the distress, the thoughts, the fracture, the unhealthy thought patterns become impressions in our aura fields until they are cleansed and our energy ties are cut with the partner or partners. Women have to often express evidence of this through imbalance of feelings of attachment out their sex partners, and both men and women express evidence of this out there in a relationships with lovers we've had continual sexual relations with. It is often manifest as a heartbreak and likelihood that we have to double back and only to live in regret. But you can correct all of that. How you correct it? By understanding who you are, knowing what you desire, and only engaging in sexual energy exchange with someone that is of your equal, someone that you know that you desire to have, and take that person's energy as your own. So I hope that you all enjoyed this candid discussion that we had on tonight. I hope you enjoyed everything that we discussed here tonight. We can go as far broad as we can with this, but we're going to conclude because I believe that we've expanded enough on tonight. And if you have any questions, I don't know if Harold wants to give his information. I think he did. I'm going to read off how you can get in contact with him via his website, which is www.divineselfdiscovery.org. His name is Harold Timberlake. You can find him on Instagram at the Divine Self Discovery. Again, you can find him on Instagram at Divine Self Discovery, and you can reach his website at www.divineselfdiscovery.org. I am Angela, your host of Evolve with Angela, Mind, Body, and Soul, and you can reach me at www.angelawhiteurban.com, as well as Instagram at I am Angela Yvonne. It has been my pleasure again to be with all of you all this evening. And until next time, namaste, and I love you. And thank you so much for tuning in.